Hello, my YouTube family and friends. I'm back. I wanted to upload this video. I'm gonna be super quick with this one. I'm gonna try to be, uh, but I have to be. I'm always led by the Holy Spirit. But I wanted to. I couldn't understand why I was noticing in my previous video. I was noticing this other verse, and I kept looking at it as I was reading the previous verse to the video I just will be uploading before this one, most likely. But I'm gonna go ahead and read it. So, and this God just gave me the reason. That's why He wanted me uh, to connect this or to share this scripture that I'm about to read with what I'm about to share with you all. So it's Proverbs chapter 18, and it's verse 22. He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. And I'm gonna read that again. He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. And that was Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22. So, y'all, I had noticed today in church, I noticed that, let me go back. So I want to share this as well. But someone mentioned to me, it was a female at church. She mentioned I was just sort of small talking with her and hugging her and told her, she looked pretty, things like that, complimenting her because she had a pretty dress on. And she said, thank you. And so then I always just do a little side talk because there's so many people coming out of the sanctuary, but I always do a little side talk and I always say like, it's hot out there today. It's such a beautiful and hot day, just talking, just small talk. And so then she says right behind that, this woman just come out of the sanctuary praising the Lord. She said, yeah, I think she said, I can't remember, I'm paraphrasing, but I think she said, yeah, I'm hot for other reasons, or I want to be, I can't remember exactly, y'all, because she's single. And I'm referencing that, I'm mentioning that because I know for a fact she wants, she desires I don't know, I guess a friend or a boyfriend, or I don't necessarily know if she wants a husband, but that's why I'm sharing it. So then this was after church, but I didn't get a chance to say what I really wanted to say to her because I was going to, put some word on it, put Jesus' word on it. But I didn't get a chance to because she was going on out, to church. But I sort of, touched on her back, on her shoulder, and I said, remember, I said, we're going to wait on God. We're going to wait on God for that. And so she kind of chuckled or whatever, and she kept on going. She didn't, so I said that to say this, that I, y'all know my stance on that. Y'all know how I feel about that. I have made up in my mind. Jesus have taken that, that longing desire to be remarried. He's removing it. I see him working because I was, I like listening to love songs. I still do. I love a good love song. I love it because that's what me and my late husband used to do. We just watch 80, 90 videos, even the 70s too, 60s too, whatever. But we just, that's something we just share. We just like love songs. We like listening to them together. But of course, since he's passed away, I still find myself, there's this one in particular I really like by James Ingram. It's called 100 Ways. I love that song. I don't think I paid much attention to that song. When he was alive, maybe I'm sure he knew about everything, but I didn't listen to it. I don't believe I listened to it then. I was listening to other love songs, but that song, it came across my music feed one day, and y'all, every now and then I'll just listen to it. That song is just so, it's a beautiful love song. It's a love ballad. But anyway, but I don't listen to it as much as I used to because it was a time I had that song on repeat because I love when a man is able to express himself and to show love for his wife. And we ain't gonna say girlfriend because we looking women, single women, we looking to be married. We don't want to be laying up with nobody. We want to be shacking up with nobody. We want to hear that music with our husband. You know, that's what we want to do. That's our goal. That's the goal. That's the goal. But and we're not gonna go looking for no man. The man is gonna find us. The husband, excuse me. The husband is gonna find us. So you gotta wait. Wait on the Lord. And so anyway, I'm trying to think, what was I going with that, y'all? So so I like, you know, I enjoy listening to that song by James Ingram. And again, it's called 100 Ways. And it's just, like I said, if you have never listened to it, it's just a beautiful love song. And in the song, he's just basically saying how he's just expressing, he's saying how man, you know, is expressing his love for, you know, the woman he loves. That's what it is. And to find 100 ways, you know, different things that the woman likes or whatever, just, you know, find a way to make her happy or whatever. So that's pretty much what the song is about. It's a beautiful song. It's old. It's very old, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. But anyway, I after the lady said that in church, I was just like, wow, you know, why are you mentioning that? And like I said, I know for a fact that she, like I said, I don't know if she's older than me. I don't know if she desires to be married, but I know that she, you know, she's looking for attention from a man. I know that, and I know that she, you know, wants to, I guess, to have a man, somebody she can hang out with or whatever. But, you know, I've already expressed my opinion on that. It's danger in that. You know, it's danger in that, because you're settling. The next thing you know, 10, 15, 20 years don't went by, and you still watching a movie together. You know, nobody want to be married. The man, he ain't stepped up, and he ain't planning to step up, because he comfortable with having sex with you. He comfortable with he's settled. He's, you know, you allow him to settle. He allowed you to settle. So both of y'all are just settling. That's what you're doing together, and nothing's changing. Years go by. Look at all the time that's been wasted. All them years been wasted. You say, well, they weren't wasted because I was doing what I wanted to do. Well, yeah, probably physically you were, but spiritually, were you growing in Jesus? Were you growing together? You know, this is what we gotta evaluate. We gotta start, evaluating ourselves by the word of Jesus, not by what we like and what we want to do, because that's all that matters. Is what Jesus. We gotta want what Jesus wants for us. That's the main thing. But so anyway, that just took me off guard, you know, caught me off guard when she said that, because I was not expecting her to say that in God's house. And I'm like, you know, you just came out of worship service, really? And then, you know, she just started, you know, she kind of just, you know, I said what I said. And so she kept on walking. And so I was like, oh, okay. But I'm just thinking to myself, why am I younger than her, some of these women? And they just so loose-minded about, you know, they just so carefree about, you know, being, you know, intimate with a man. And like I said, I don't think I'm better than nobody, but I know I'm better because I have a relationship with Jesus. I want to be better. You know, I've done all that. You know, I've done that stuff before I met my late husband. You know, I know what it looked like. I could see it a mile away. I don't have time to entertain foolishness. You know, so, and then later in this, well, this was during service. There was and I'm gonna share this also in the other video, but there was a husband and wife. I'm assuming they were married, and he had set the lady's chair out for her to sit in it, and she moved the chair and moved it to you know, around so she wouldn't be sitting alongside him. So I was like, what's going on there? You know, so I just, you know, I prayed a prayer. God wanted me to pray for them, and that's what I did. But God reminded me that, you know, that didn't happen when I was married, but he reminded me, you know, this time around, and I already, you know, I told the Lord, I said, on this upcoming marriage, the next one that I'm going to have, I said, I'm going to be the best wife that I could ever be, because now I have a relationship with Jesus. I didn't have that in my first marriage. I did not have it. I did not. And that was primarily the reason why I was acting the way I was acting. I was selfish. I was, you know, conceited. I was a bunch of stuff, you know, that I should not have been. You know, that's not a God characteristics those are not characteristics of a godly woman. And you know, a lot of people looked up to me, you know. And I remember what is it, a young lady at a church that we used to attend, and she said it to me. That's when I was on Facebook, and she messaged me because, you know, I was getting they were sending condolences regarding my late husband after he passed away. And she said, this is what she said, y'all paraphrasing, but she said, I always looked up to you and him because y'all were one of my favorite married couples. And so that made me feel good, y'all. But then I thought about too, I'm like, wow, she was looking up to me, and I wasn't even living like I should have been living. You know, I was not doing none of the stuff I should have been doing. But see, that just goes to show that looks can be deceiving. But even in me deceiving her and whoever else was, I guess, quote unquote, looking up to me and him, we sure had our shortcomings. Yes, we all do. But they were just going by what they saw at church, because that's the only time they really seen us. And then of course, I would post things on Facebook, and he used to tell me all the time. He said, you just acting like you just got this just wonderful, sunny, beautiful life, and which in my heart I did have it, you know, but I was not walking it. I was not walking it out. And like I said, nothing else matters, because if we don't have Jesus, none of that even matters. You know, you can get all the likes you want on Facebook, all the hearts and whatever, but if you don't have a relationship with Jesus, Jesus knows everything about us. But that just made me think, y'all. I was like, wow, you know, there I was, not even living the way I should have been living in my married life, and here goes somebody watching everything I was doing. She said, yeah, said, y'all was one of my favorite couples. Said it just seemed like y'all was always happy. And you know, we were. Of course, we argued, you know, we had our little, you know, spats or whatever, but in the end, we truly did love each other. And I believe God allowed that to show. That's what other people saw. And that some people were jealous of it. Some people were, you know, they enjoyed seeing it, you know. But for the most part, you know, I was living. That's what I was telling the lady at church after church today. I said, you know, and she said, oh no, I'm sure you were. I said, no, I wasn't. I'll be the first to tell you. I said, I wasn't. I said, but next time around, I will be. I will be it, because God, that's what He doing now. He cleaning me up. He cleaning you up, you know. And we gotta not only have a desire to be better, we gotta allow God to change us, you know. And I always say this, y'all. You know, we say we want change. We say we want this, we want that, but there's a change, there's a process. And you not only, you know, need to be saying you want to change, but you got to go through that process. And that process ain't fun. It's a stripping away. It's a cleansing. You know, God got to strip you down. He got to, because it's a lot of stuff that's in you and on you that has to be removed so He can do what, you know, He needs to do in you and through you, so that He can get the honor, the glory, and the praise. But I just wanted to share that, y'all. You know, if you're single, whether you a female or a male, wait on God. I continue to say this, y'all. I continue to, because it's like the Lord wants me to remind somebody. You know, quit going out here looking for women. Quit going out here looking for a man. That man's supposed to, if he indeed is your husband, he gonna find you. And men, yes, you're supposed to find your wife, but He didn't say everybody ain't your wife. You know, everybody that you looking at and think is beautiful or pretty or whatever, that ain't your wife. You need to be praying to Jesus and asking Him to show you. He'll show it to you. He'll show it to you in a dream. He'll give you discerning spirit about her. Whatever it is, whatever we need, God will provide it for us. But we got to quit going out here doing what we want to do, because that's how we get in a big mess, y'all. And then when we get in that mess, we asking the Lord to help us get out of it. But it was our fault we even got in it. You know, let's take some accountability. But again, that couple got my attention this morning. That sort of made me feel sort of bad for the man, because I don't know. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if they had argued before they came in church. I don't know. But, you know, some people can't hide what don't happen. You know, in the South, we used to say that, me and my late husband, we had a thing about that, because, you know, his parents would have a, we would know about if they had an argument or something, because, we'll find out later on. And so, and then my mom, she was like that. If she was mad at my stepfather, she didn't want to go nowhere, pretty much, or if she did, she was going to let it be known, I'm mad at you, so I sort of feel like that's what was going on, but I don't want to judge because I don't know. But I just did what the Lord told me to do. I prayed for them. I prayed for their marriage. I prayed for just peace, for both of them, because I could tell, that man, it seems like he truly loves her. But like I said, I don't know what was going on, but she moved that chair. He was trying to place her alongside him, and she moved it, away from him. And it was very noticeable, and I'm like, wow, So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know, if he was at fault or she was at fault. It don't even matter. But, when we come in God's house, in his house of worship, we should be on one accord. I know that's not always the case, but we got to be mindful, because somebody, look, I was watching that. And see, that could have stumbled me. You know what? I don't want to be married no more, or remarried. But I'm saying that's just an example. We got to be mindful of what we do in public and even in private too, because God see everything. But I'm praying for that couple. Like I said, I don't know what was going on there, but I noticed that. God allowed me to notice that, and He's allowing me to notice a lot of stuff. And He said, just pray for them. Just pray for them. You ain't got to know what's going on in their household. Just pray for them. And prayer, I know for a fact, prayer changes things. It changes things. But before God changes our situations, He changes us first. So as always, I pray you enjoyed this brief message. I just want to share that because I feel like somebody needs to hear it, needs to be reminded of it. And I'm encouraged through everything I share with you all from Jesus. And I always remember, I love you, but remember, Jesus loves you so much more. The best is still yet to come for you and for me. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Bye-bye.